guys, welcome back. LTS, Let's Talk Sports. And of course, because Kenwin is on the set with me, I thought it appropriate to wear red today. He's in black though, he's not in red, but he's usually in his red or his white kit, so that's fair enough. So Kenwin, as we get into it, of course, you're the number 9 for Cardiff. How was that?
It's like any other team, any other organization. It's been decent. Well, by myself, I'd say a decent start to the season.
Nice.
But we've had quite a couple losses, a few draws. So it's not left us in the best position. But the season is still young. I think we have something like 36 more games to go.
Nice.
After playing 10 already. So we have a long way to go to see if we can get back to the Premier League, and hopefully at the end of the season we'll be back there.
Do you find though that it of course I know you took the break, or there's a break allotted, you were explaining that to me earlier on, for you to come, you leave the team and you get to play with country. Does that take a toll on your physical, on your body though? I
think when you're getting older, it tends to take a toll on your body, the traveling, leaving from one place after playing and then traveling, it's basically like 9, 10, 11 hours. You fly to come and play, then you come into training, change your time zone.
Wow.
And then, it's basically train, play, and then go back to work. And then you have to switch to that other time zone again. So it is a bit difficult, but again, it's part of the lifestyle. So you have to deal with it.
All right. And of course, there's a question I've always wanted to ask, and you're the best person to ask. Now, I'm not doing a comparison in terms of to bring down any particular team or anything, but if you had, are there certain things that, in terms of training and preparation, that you would do with the international team that you think should be implemented with our local team?
Is that the national team, you say?
Yeah, yes.
To be really honest with you, I think generally we're a bit behind.
Okay.
In terms of setup, in terms of equipment, I'd say, in terms of departments, really, we're behind. And that is not. And I'm not saying the national team only. I'm saying sports in general in Trinidad and Tobago is behind, and we have quite a long way to reach to be on par by international standards, and by good international standards, I would say, because there are a lot of European countries that are probably on the same level as we are, but in terms of being properly well prepared and having things accessible to you, I think we're a lot behind on that. So we need to, take a step up.
No, and that's a great answer, because I had a gentleman here. He's a Scottish footballer, James Baird, and he basically echoed the same sentiments. Of course, he has that international European standard football he's accustomed with, and then he played with, I think, Tobago United at one point as well. So he gave me almost the same comparison. So it's a true thing. I mean, we may want to deny it here, but there are some things that we could do better, but I think we're comfortable. We're almost at a comfort zone.
Well, I'll say we're comfortable to work on as little as necessary. The people that are meant to be in the places that's supposed to provide the, whether it be equipment, facilities, whatever the case is, we've been going on make do with a little and try to go a long way for quite a long time, and it's not, I mean, you're getting some accolades and some achievements out of it, but it's not conducive to what you need to be producing consistently.
Right.
And I think for the people that speak a lot, they want to be on the level of other countries internationally. And this is in all sport, not labeled to football only, but in all sport, we want to be on that level and be on par with all these countries, but yet still we're trying to make a mansion with straws, more or less.
And of course, you have been following what's happening with the women's national team, I'm assuming. And, well, as you know, they won the women's, they won the Caribbean. That
they
cup.
put us under some pressure a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that situation itself, I don't want this to sound the wrong way. I feel bad for them, but is something that all national teams, whether regardless they being women, the men's senior team, the under 23s, the under 20s, the under 17s, the under 15s, whoever, it's a situation that we've been going through for some time.
For decades,
I think some different management teams, choose to deal with it differently. They choose to complain to the powers that be to try and fix the situation. But I think this in order to get the help that the coach needed, I think that he made a judgment call in trying to air his feelings.
Right.
And of course, yes, it did get some support. But there would be a lot of people that would argue that it was probably the wrong way to go about it diplomatically. He could have dealt with it in a better situation. But again, for some people, they air their frustrations in different ways. And in order for him to get the support that he needed, as fast as he needed it, I guess he thought that he needed to
just get it out there.
To scream about it, But as I said, it's a situation that all genders of football and different age groups have been going through for quite a long time.
All right. Now, I like the way you said that, because my next question was, do you think that the women are treated differently to the men in terms of...
Well, what I'll say is, by a world standard, how the world runs, some things are good for women, not good for men. Some things are good for men and not good for women. But I think where the basic needs of sport is concerned, you need to have a level playing field. I think the competition that they're in is as important as the men's, and is something that they, as professional footballers, have been working towards all their lives, and being able to get into a position like they are, I think they deserve that support from everyone, not just the powers that be, but from the country by and large. And I think that we need to change our attitude towards it, and that is by saying sport in general. We need to change our attitude towards sport.
Because I have cricketers, I have even race cars. I mean, whatever sport they come, and it's almost the same thing. Everybody has the same complaint.
Yeah, same music, just a different instrument. I think we have a lot of problems. I mean, and per se, I'll say this. There might be some arms of sport in Trinidad and Tobago that definitely needs the government's input into helping them to achieve whatever, or go to whatever challenges that they need to, and also to help the progression of the sport. But I think football is a bit different. When you have football federations in countries, they are more or less a private entity more than public. And most of what they need supposed to be coming from maybe private sector. However they go about sourcing their
corporate Trinidad,
their funds, and the help from the government is an added bonus. It's not something that they are obligated to do, but it is an added bonus. But again, things need to change. Need to change.
Now, just to go on the lighter side of things, I know you're supposed to leave today, and you head back, and you get straight into training on Thursday.
Yes.
Right. What, as you leave though, what as the captain, what are some of the words, if any, that you would have left with your team until you meet again in November?
Well, all during this leg of the tournament, my words were pretty much the same. We basically, it's like that, I don't know whose ad it was long ago that, we came too far to turn back now. We not being political or anything, but, as I said, we made a lot of progression over the last year. The team came close to winning the cup the last time. We were runners-up the last time. And I think for the group that we have together now and the football that we're playing, it's it seems basically as a given that we should be doing what we're doing right now, being dominant and being able to, well, God willing, to win the cup, you know. And my sentiments were, you know, something to our game that we needed to develop is that killer instinct, that killer mentality, you know, when you have teams that are seemingly beneath you, beneath your talent, your level of skill or whatever, as a team and individuals, you know, when they come, you know, we need to put the pressure on them and let them know more or less who's boss. And those were my sentiments, you know, during the games. And, you know, even for after, I was pretty proud of the team, the way we played tactically, because I think we implemented some different things. Also mentally, you know, we lessened down on the mistakes that we were making for some months. And, you know, it was a wonderful tournament, even though it was pretty crazy, 3 games in 5 days, but you know, it was wonderful for me, and I was happy with a lot of the progress that the team made and a lot of individuals, and also we had a couple new faces introduced to the team, so I was happy that they came in and they were able to gel and get that experience and be able to have something to look forward to coming around again, that, you know, it will drive them on in between the period of until this tournament to the next.
Nicely. So as we close though, is there anything you want to say to Trinidad and Tobago? Of course, we know the encouragement, the support means a lot to you guys. Yeah,
well, you know, at the end of the day, as I say, Trinidad and Tobago, you know, we all say it, we all know the mentality we have as a country. For us, it is nice, you know, for us to come out there and to be able to play in front of maybe a full stadium or near to full stadium, because at the end of the day, I've always had the feeling of this feeling, and I still believe it, that we are by and large the most talented Caribbean footballing nation.
Yeah.
By and large, you know, I played in the Pro League probably like 2003 or something for 1 year. And I always said it, like, if, you know, we had the culture of supporting teams as other countries would, you know, I don't think it would have a need for any player to leave this country to go outside to play football, because at the end of the day, you will be having that support, you'll be having that club culture.
And that would generate
also,
a lot of,
that in itself, playing in front of all those people, would challenge your consistency level, you know, and for a lot of the players in the Pro League, it's disappointing for them, you know, to be going out and playing in front of
empty stadium,
40 people, 100 people,
family,
you know, all the time.
Your close
but then, yet still, I expected to, on that level, be at the top of the game all the time, and also when they come to the national level, to be on top, on that level, it's virtually impossible, you know, because the reason why. You know, the other leagues in the world like that is because they have the support, they have the eyes on them all the time, they have the patrons coming out who want to see them, so they always have to be on a level where they have to be at the top of the game. You know, a game in front of 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people and a game behind closed doors is two different things, you know, the intensity, everything else would be different. So I'd just like to say to Trinidad and Tobago, you know, we've been doing a lot of good things over the last year. You know, it's important for us that, you know, they support the team, they support the players, you know, because it's only by that encouragement that the players will tend to raise their level. And also for the aspiring footballers or sportsmen and sportswomen out there, it's encouraging for them to know that they have a public to please. Or displease. You know, it's encouraging for them, because we look at it when we go away to games, we have a minority, maybe 10 people in the stands, but then you have 20, 30,000, 40 people shouting, screaming, spitting at you, you know, calling your names to try and put you off because they want their team to win, and we don't have that culture in Trinidad. You know, we have the everybody jump up, hip hop hooray kind of thing, and for now, you know, so hopefully by and large Trinidad and Tobago as a whole could make some steps towards changing, but you know, the team, whether it be the senior team, the under 20, whatever, you know, just go there and give that support and cheer the guys on, because they need it.
They need it. Thank you. Thank you, Captain, Skipper of the national team.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you could have been, resting, checking family members because you're leaving today. But thanks for taking the time to come here and talk with us. Let us know what's happening with the team, with you, and of course with your club.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you.
So you heard from the man himself, Kenwyne Jones. James, oh my gosh, did I just rename you there, Kenwyne Jones?
It happened quite a few times over my life.
So you heard from him, the captain of TNT. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come right back and got some more things for you. LTS, let's take a break.